Hello, welcome to day one, our evening session. We are back for more Drop Your Money Story and Fund the Life of Your Dreams. I am teaching you things that I have done for myself and that I have been doing for my clients. And y'all, I am really excited to share two things with you already. This stuff works. I know it works. And I've been watching it in real time already working with people who are in this challenge. So I'm going to share this with you. I want you to really get this. Nothing teaches better than examples. So I talked to you all earlier today. I gave you some key teachings where you can just let it drip on you. Just start taking it in, seeing what you're ready to absorb and what you're ready to believe and what you're ready to hear. And you'll be able to come back and listen to these and watch these over and over again. Just letting it all start simmering and percolating. And there were some people who took to heart right what I was telling you all to do this morning. I told you to really go out into the world today and catch it and stop it. And I want to share with you these examples because they show it in action. I can teach it as a theory and I've lived it, but to watch it with people who heard me this morning and are already having shifts and already having changes in their consciousness. So one of the people in this group was so willing to share, and thank you for sharing. And any of you that will drop in and share this week, I will coach you on what is going on. So Amy said, first time my crap came up in the store. And I caught myself saying, okay, that's all we need, or I'm going to be broke. She said, wow, I really hijacked. I caught it. And now I'm laughing about it. But these things are already here. They're right here. And they're driving your bus. They're running things unconsciously. But because I said, catch them and stop them, she caught it. And then as we talked about it, she couldn't believe. I said the little things we say throughout our day. And I'm looking over here reading it, which is why my eyes are looking at you and then coming off here. The little things we say throughout our day, catch it and stop it. So then I recommended to her, here's a chance for you to dive deep, to explore where in your life you were programmed to only get what you need and to limit what you need and make sure you really need it. Are you hearing that? Because she caught herself in the store just saying matter-of-factly, okay, that's all we need or I'm going to be broke. She could have said, that's all we need today. Great, I'm done. I can get on with my day. But she threw in there, okay, that's all we need or I'm going to be broke. And she didn't even realize it except she had watched me this morning and listened to what I was saying. So I said a chance to deep dive. So see where I go with it, to explore where in your life early on you were programmed to only get what you need and to limit what you need and make sure you really need it. So I'm reading what you all are writing. I'm listening to what you're saying. And then I'm also tuning in intuitively because it can be a series of blocks and a series of beliefs. And I'm picking out and hearing clairaudiently which one it is, where the energy is. Then I asked her, Amy, what would happen then if you chose to buy something you wanted and desired and didn't need? And didn't need. She said, wow, an aha moment, a moment of epiphany. I've been missing this whole time to notice that I do both simultaneously and I couldn't figure it out. Wow. And that's how it is when you get it, you see it, you've been doing it, you've been programmed. It's unconsciously running your bus. until you make it conscious, and then it loses its power over you, because the next time it starts to come out of her mouth, she'll say, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. So I told her, we kept working through it. If you make the story, that's all we need, or I'm going to be broke, then the universe has to deliver that story. I really want you to get this. Then the universe has to deliver that story, and you have to make yourself right. So buying anything after that will appear as if you are suddenly going broke. There are two things, and two people worked out both examples. So I'm excited to show you both examples. One is we always have to make ourselves right, and we have to be loyal to our family. We do the craziest things being loyal to our family. I was doing a lot of work last year with family constellations. It's something I did as a therapist, and now I've been working at it as a coach, energetically and intuitively. It's amazing what we will do to be loyal to our family. Notice how she said it. It didn't come through her mind, and she didn't think about it and say it. It's so automatic. It just came right through. It's not even hers, and it doesn't have to even be hers anymore. She created it in a time to survive. In that time with that family, we are programmed that if you do not fit in with the tribe and the family, you can die. She had to make herself right. So then what would happen is if she bought anything after that, suddenly she's going to feel like she's going broke, and all these things are going to come up. She said, I'm fixing it as we're talking about it. She's working on it. She's looking at it. And then she said, this is what I wanted to get to, the core belief. It's the story from my parents when I was young. It is. It is. And it's right there, and we don't see it, and we don't see we're doing it, and then we wonder why we keep living it out. I talked this morning, go back and watch that if you didn't watch it. I gave you an example in my own life of how things that came from generations back that were true, that served, got passed down the generations. And when I was a child, my parents were still playing it out, even though it was no longer true and it didn't need to be a belief. There was a time it served my family, my ancestors, my lineage. It kept everyone alive and safe, and everyone was in agreement, and we were still playing it out. And how I then played it out in my work, in my life, outside of my family. I talked to you about the church I had joined. Listen to that this morning. That video is already there for you. So Amy listened to the whole teaching this morning and went right out and started applying it. She said, this is the story from my parents when I was young. We only get what we need. You can imagine it. Oh my, Michelle Barr, I have totally carried that information. Holy snap. I'm watching her in real time, getting it. It was continuously said all the time as a saying. So she took in, it is safe. And we survive because we only get what we need. And if you're going to be loyal to the family, you have to be the people that we only get what we need. That's exactly how it works. And you get to decide in this moment if it's even true for you anymore. And it may not be. And you don't even realize it. Then Lisa showed up later today, thank goodness, and she shares with me, thank you for sharing. I know my money story began as a young adult. I was working full-time, car payment, rent, etc. And I kept telling myself that if I can just pay my bills every month, I'm doing okay. This one I love. We were just working through it about an hour ago. I've got to show you how crazy we do. When you get this one, you're going to shake your head. I was on fire with it. So get this. She was aware as a young adult, working full-time, paying her car payment, her rent, met her bills, and she kept telling herself, if I can just pay my bills every month, I'm doing okay. That thought has never left me, she said. I'm still able to pay my bills every month, but that is about it. So when I want something or need something beyond paying my bills, it has to go on a credit card. And guess what? It becomes a bill that I cannot pay in full monthly. Now, here's the great thing about that. I dug deeper with her. I said, Lisa, you created a belief at the time to serve you, but did not shift it when it no longer served you. That's the work we're doing together. That's what we're starting this work this week, shifting it when it no longer serves you. When I gave you those 5 steps, discovers the first one. We've been discovering today. Amy discovered big core issue, core belief. Lisa discovered big core issue, core belief. It will never be the same again. The second step is shift. You can't shift until you have discovered. You created a belief at the time to serve you, but did not shift it when it no longer served you. So I asked her, we continued to work through it. What was said in your family growing up about people being able to pay their bills or not being able to pay their bills? Was that not okay? You got yourself stuck in just enough to be okay. Whatever you had been taught okay was. You made that the set point and you felt okay as long as you could hit it. You're comfortable receiving extra money through credit card debt, then you are tied to paying that bill to be okay. You just have not created new set points and beliefs to support what you want and who you are now. We are starting this work this week together to create new set points and beliefs to support what you want and who you are now, and to get rid of those beliefs that are no longer serving you, shifting what no longer is serving you. I said, so now it's time to shift. And she said, yes, now it's time to shift. I want out of debt completely and enough coming in to meet every need, want, and a few fun surprises along the way. Is that too much to ask? I said, whatever you want is right to ask for. Desires were put there for a reason. Now, she brings up a great point because I don't want her to create one constricting, restricting belief for another. Now it's time to shift. I want out of debt completely. You may have grown up where debt was shameful and guilty, but debt with the right energy in the right circumstances and the right intentions and actions can fund your business and your life. So don't trade one constricting, restrictive belief system for another one. I want out of debt completely. I want financial freedom, yes, but don't get stuck in, I want out of debt completely, if that's another story that carries a big boom around it. Because when you focus, get this, the universe does not understand the no part, out of debt. It just hears debt, debt, debt. It feels debt, debt, debt. It keeps getting all of whatever is in your vibration. She said, here's where I want you to see this. This is amazing. She said, my family story was never enough. So I knew I had to change my story. Her family story was never enough. We talked about these stories this morning. I want you to see this. So she knew she had to change her story back when. So she changed it to just enough. Just enough to pay her bills. And she hasn't changed it again, and now is the time. Now, here's what I want you to see. We can become so loyal to our family. I said, Lisa, do you see how you made yourself loyal to your family? You created what you thought was a shift, just enough to pay all your bills. And then you created credit card debt so you could stay in not enough. Are you seeing this? These are so subtle and so profound. She shifted out of not enough into just enough, but she still needed to be so loyal to her family. She created credit card debt that she couldn't pay off every month. So now she was back in not enough. Out of loyalty to her family. She said, yes, I do. The rest of my family is still there. My sister even told me the other day she hates money. I appreciate money. I just never allowed it to come into my life. These are the things we do. We have to make ourselves right with Amy's example I just gave you. And then Lisa's example, we think we've changed, and then we put ourselves back in the same situation to be loyal to our family. Thank you so much, Amy and Lisa, for sharing these in real time and working with me. And look how fast we unraveled all the way to the core issue. They will now both take that teaching. And I'm telling it to you on here, but you can also go to our pinned post and look in the comments, and you can follow where I worked with both of them, and then you can post your own and let me work with you. You can watch the whole interaction and how in maybe five back and forths, we nailed it, and it will never be the same for them again. This is how powerful this is and what I want you to see. So day 1 is all about discover, and stay with us for the 5 days. And we're doing 1 a day, but this is not a process that's going to be one and done. So even if you say already, oh, I didn't hear the one this morning. Well, if you don't watch that till tomorrow morning, then still apply it and still come in here, and you'll be able to catch up, and we'll be in here for 5 days working on this. So you're fine. You're good wherever you're coming in. That other one is the pinned post. You can go in and watch it and start working with me by commenting. So Amy's example and Lisa's example, I could not have scripted it better. That's what I want you to see and really get. I could not have made it up. It happened in real time, and I worked with them with it in the moment. You can't make it up. Today's all about discovering. In order to shift, we have to discover. And do you see that with both Amy and Lisa and their examples that we just went through in this video, and you'll be able to go back and watch this when I'm done with the live part, do you see they were right there to be discovered? They've been there all along. I'm on the outside, and it's my gift, and I'm not in it. And I was able to uncover it and unravel it. Now it's up to them what they're going to do with it. Now they can shift it or not, but they had to discover it first. And both times what I repeated to them, what I was seeing and understanding and getting, is exactly what was playing out when they were growing up and in their early life. We are working with discover. I gave you all the task starting this morning, for some of you starting right now, every day, catch it and stop it. Notice what you're telling yourself about money. Amy was just in the store. Amy, I saw you just got on here. I used your example because it was so great. It's such a great teaching moment. Amy was in the store and caught it. And she's probably said and done and acted that out over and over again. And remember, universal law says whatever you say is. She will no longer have to act that out. So this is everything you tell yourself about money when you go to spend it, when you don't spend it, when a desire bubbles up, when you have something you want. It includes, what do you say about money? What do you say about people with money? What do you say about how people spend their money? All of those. Boy, you see it all over Facebook. People are so ready to comment about how rich people should be spending their money. And I always come right back and say, but with what you have, are you spending equally? People have such mixed up notions about money that are blocking us from it and running the show. So I really want you to pay attention to your money, your relationship with money, and all your thoughts, feelings, and words around money. Amy and Lisa both did that today and have already got a big piece of their puzzle moving forward, and it's going to change their money. Great. Stacy just left the store and realized the language she was having. She's going to post it, and then I will be able to go through it and we'll talk about it. That's the way to do it. Be willing to dive in. Paying attention to your money, what's coming in, what's going out. Remember, I shared with you this morning, financial freedom is not how much money you have in the bank, in your savings and investments, whatever it was. It is knowing how to create the money you want and need when you want and need it. And when I was able to do that, it changed my entire life and my business. Keep these comments coming, and we're going to go through and we're going to look at all of them. Yes, I can't wait to keep working through them. Thinking about this discovering, thinking about catching it and stopping it so it loses its power over you. Once we see it playing out, we can stop it or we can choose to keep it. But we want it to be ours. We want it to serve us, even from your parents' generation. And then if you have children, things are so different. Their beliefs are not going to serve you. Not carrying them forward. We talked about these family patterns and energies even before you were born that you absorb. We learn energetically so we can survive. We're hardwired for it before we even have language. Another fun thing that I want to give you as you're thinking about this, because the minute you start shifting, money can start showing up all over because you've released some stories that no longer serve you. How many of you see pennies or coins or change when you're out and about and you don't pick them up? You step over them. I used to do it too. And then I was learning a lot about money mindset, and now I stop and I pick them up and I say thank you, and I put them in my pocket, and I have a coin jar. I pick them up and I receive them, because if I'm entrusted with the little things, I will also be entrusted with the big things. And if my money mindset says it's not worth it for a penny, and I caught myself. So here again, these are all these ways. I used to see coins on the street and I wouldn't say these are for me. And it's interesting because now I'm a medium also, and a lot of people get coins, pennies show up, and it is a sign from their loved ones, and they know. So I used to see coins, pennies, things like that, and I used to say, I have so much, I'm going to leave those there for someone else to pick up. But then I realized in my life and in my business and in my everyday world, I would leave things that were meant for me because I felt guilty about someone else who didn't have something. Here's another huge shift in my life. You having less will never create someone else having more. You having more will never create someone else having less. This is a huge one I had to get. I served for so many years in victim services. I had this mentality, but then I'm telling the universe, I already have enough. Save that for people who don't. I started picking up the pennies, and I have a great story about this. I picked up the pennies and I was conscious. Thank you for this penny. Put it in my pocket, carry it around, put it in the jar, save it in my car. And then if I want to go and donate it in the Salvation Army bucket or somewhere, if I want to do something else with it, but I receive it, because think about this, money can come through me to get to other people. So I don't have to keep it, but I want to receive it. After I'd been doing this a while, and I love it because Stacy's saying I just picked up a penny at work. Someone told me it was there. I've been looking at it for a week untouched. I found the pennies. I started picking up the pennies and being grateful and talking to the universe and receiving them. And then I started finding dimes. And then I started finding quarters. And I was in a money mindset workshop. I'll never forget. I was in the hotel and she was talking about that. And I was so already in this practice as she was talking about it. I was saying, yes, I receive it. I will lean down and pick that penny up and get it out into circulation for me or someone else. I will pick that dime up. I will pick that quarter up. And I had to use the restroom and I walked out and I came around the corner and it was such an aha moment. It was such a God wink moment. There was a $10 bill and I had been picking up dimes. So $10 bill is 1,000 times the dime. They always say, receive 100-fold, receive 1,000-fold. And I knew God was saying, yes, $10 bill. Now I stood there, I picked it up, I stood there a minute, I looked around, and then I said, this is for me, because I was just in there studying this and I got the $10 bill. Those are God winks. I want you to recognize these things. All the times you're passing over the small money that's trying to come to you. Yes, a change jar, whatever it is. And Paulette's sharing, this was another one for me too. The ostrich mentality. I talked about this morning. If you go back and watch and listen, I don't want to look at it because I just wrote a big check and I don't want to look at my bank account and then I'll have to figure out how to cover it. Oh my gosh, is it going to bounce or not? Maybe it won't bounce, but it might. And then what will I do? And I would actually bounce checks because I didn't take care of it and I didn't empower myself to take care of it. I just sabotaged and victimized myself. We are going to pay attention to our money. It will help you. Those of you that are building businesses and receiving money, all of this is going to help you get paid in your business. And I know Paulette's in another program of mine, so we have been talking about this. You're watching your money. You're writing it down. I know, Ida, there is that thing where you think about it and then we were also, and think about this. I mean, there are germs. I have one child who's really a germaphobia. And so sometimes we think, yes, it's dirty. It might be dirty. And do I want to pick it up? So I pick it up and I put it in the pocket of my pants. And you can decide if one really looks dirty. But there again, there are these weird things where we've been taught money is dirty. I had a memory back then when I first started picking up money. Again, my parents meant well. But the way they said it, I went to pick up money. And they said, oh, don't pick up that money. You don't know who's touched it. And they made it very dirty. So it wasn't just like the money was in the street and dirt got on it. They implanted in me the fear of dirty people touching the money. So there's all this dirty money and people touching it. Don't pick that money up. You don't know who's touched that. Well, every time I get a dollar bill out of the cash register at a store, I don't know who's touched it or where it's been. And of course, we don't get a lot of that anymore, change and all of that. We deal in a lot of numbers, but there's a lot of things. So if I use my hygiene practices, but decide what you're going to do. Because if you pick it up and then you're worried I'm going to get sick, you're going to create getting sick from picking up dirty money, and the money's dirty and now money makes you sick. These are all these insidious things our subconscious takes in. Yes, all of you are sharing these. That relief motivation, just enough that I talked about this morning. I will talk more about that because Janie's saying, what do I need to do to make the shift? The first thing, the audio is gone. Can you all still hear me? I had tech issues this morning and I said, we have to keep going. So hopefully you all can hear me and this is working. I'm about to finish up here for our time for today. Thank you all for all being on here with me. So this relief motivator for any of these awarenesses, I had to first, and everything you all are posting, I'm going to read the comments and work with them in the comments too, and then talk about them again tomorrow. Great. The relief motivator, any of these awarenesses, you have to become aware first. We're discovering it. Then we choose to shift, and they lose their power just by the shift. So recognizing that I was living in that relief can be an addiction. It can bring you endorphins. I realized I was addicted to the relief, so I kept playing it out. So the only way to stop it was to first discover it, and then to choose to shift it and to be willing to give up the relief, because for me it was an addiction and a motivator. An addiction, I talked about all this morning. I broke it down for you. An addiction that I needed to break because it made me feel better, and I used it as a motivator. And I still had that belief of just enough, it'll come in at the last minute if I suffer. And then I realized I was making myself, even once I had my business, the money didn't come in until I had suffered enough, until I'd put myself through the ringer enough, because I was looking for the relief, and then, the money would come in. Spirit is so good. But what if I didn't need to suffer? And then suddenly I made more and more and more money every month. If you got on this late, go back and watch this with Amy and Lisa's examples and keep sharing with me, and I'm going to keep breaking these down for you. We will be back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, right here, and at 8 p.m. Central Time with more. Just keep letting this drip and be hyper alert and hyper aware of all of it. Thank you all so much. You are great. And start sharing your wins, because I know they're coming and I'm so excited. And one more thing I want to share with you, because a lot of you are professionals, spiritual entrepreneurs, and you're also working on that. Be careful. I always tell my clients, be careful, whatever you name your program and whatever you're going to teach. So I'm aware of this too, so it doesn't knock my feet out from under me. Be aware of what you're going to teach and what you name your programs, because you will be living it. And so I'm aware all the things I'm telling you, I'm working on too. And I am hyper alert and aware of all my money stuff this week, so that I don't take myself down, that I can just teach you and hold that space. But when you name your program, you get to live it first and then teach it to others and drink your own medicine. So I'm right in here with you, uncovering my own stuff. Sleep well, and I will see you all in the morning. Drop your money stories and fund the life of your dreams.